Hey guys, today I'm going to walk you through some of the gear that I was influenced to buy for videography that has been worth every cent. And I'm going to walk you through quite a list of items that were worth the money. So if I were you, I would maybe get yourself a water or a coffee, maybe roll out a yoga mat and do your stretches because this is going to be a bit of a chatty video, unlike my usual videos that are scripted out and punchy and fast paced. This is like I'm chatting to a friend. If you want to see a video of me listing all of the things that I was influenced to buy that I regret, let me know in the comments. I'd like to make that video as well if you guys are interested in seeing that. So the structure of the video is going to have me mentioning an item as well as listing the pros and the cons associated with that item. And hopefully you'll see why I found that the thing that I purchased was worth the spend. Now, the first thing was my tripod. Now, the tripod is valuable for so many different reasons. One, it's standing right now with my camera on top of it, and I'm able to speak into my DSLR camera as well as my GoPro. So not only am I able to capture different camera angles, the tripod has been incredibly valuable for helping me film by myself in different locations. So whether I'm filming myself for a video or whether I'm interviewing someone or even just for transitions, what may have initially been pretty difficult to capture if I had to just place my camera somewhere or ask somebody to hold it. So from a speed perspective and from the ability to make my vision come to life, the tripod has surprisingly been one of the most valuable pieces that I've purchased. I don't actually have many cons about the tripod. I will list the one that I use if I can remember what it's called, but I don't use anything fancy, so there's no need to spend a lot of money on it, just as long as you're able to adjust the size so that you can capture different camera angles. That's maybe something that you can look at if you're in the market for a tripod, but a tripod was definitely worth the spend for me. Now, the next item that I was influenced to buy is an incredibly sentimental purchase of mine because I feel like this is where everything started for me. I used to watch people's videos and dream of making my own. So when my husband and I did one of our first big adventures, we got our hands on a GoPro and it allowed us to capture memories that I can always reflect on for the rest of my life. I am so sentimental about my GoPro purchase, but the first GoPro that I purchased didn't have great stabilization, so I had to use a gimbal in order to help me capture the moments that I wanted to. But I did then go on to buy the GoPro Hero 9 Black a couple of years ago, and I haven't bought a new GoPro since. I haven't felt the need to because the GoPro Hero 9 Black has helped me capture absolutely everything that I've wanted to. I've been able to run with it, I've been able to swim with it. I've been blown away with how beautifully it captures shots outside in harsh sunlight. I haven't needed to use an ND filter or anything. I could have, and my footage would have probably been better. But just for an action camera, something that stops you from excuses of, oh my goodness, I have to set this up so I can't film. It's so easy. We carried it around in our pockets when we traveled and captured amazing memories, but I've also been able to use it now as I'm filming this, but also as I film projects for clients or just captured short films of mine that I'm really proud of. Now, if you're interested in the GoPro Hero 9 Black, I did make a video where I reviewed the action camera in its entirety. It's not perfect by any means, but I think it's good enough for anybody starting out in videography who's specifically looking for an action camera, something that is small that they can keep on their person and that allows them to capture smooth footage, whether they're running, walking, cycling, or swimming. I don't really have many negatives about the GoPro Hero 9 Black. But like I said, it's not perfect. Moving on from the GoPro, the next thing that I was influenced to buy, this is one of the most expensive purchases I've made in my videography career so far, and that would have to be my DSLR camera when I'm filming on over here. So as you can see, GoPro is the best when it comes to indoor settings, and I thought I would film on two different cameras just to show you the difference. Now, I do a lot of my filming currently from my office. In the past, I've been able to get out a lot more, but in this current phase of life and with the current workload I have, it's difficult to get out there and film like I used to. So having a camera that captures what I needed to capture and what I consider in superior footage to a GoPro, it doesn't really get better than my DSLR. Now, I have made a video where I have compared the GoPro, the DSLR, and an iPhone, and I think every single camera has its place. I don't think there's one that outperforms the rest, but for this current phase of life, this bad boy gets me everything I want and more. And I have used auto mode, and I have found that auto mode, that's it pretty much just means, if you don't understand, you don't have to change the ISO or any settings. You pretty much just turn the camera on and press record, and you're able to get footage like this indoor. But I mean, I've been able to get great footage outdoors as well. And in some of my videos, I actually use a combination of my DSLR and my GoPro. And yeah, it's just been a fantastic purchase. One of the most expensive, like I said, but definitely a purchase I haven't regretted, and I'm so glad that I purchased this DSLR camera of mine. What I'm going to mention next is something that I don't feel people stress the importance of enough when it comes to videography. So often with videography, people want to talk about cameras and is the GoPro better than the DSLR, or can you save up to afford a really expensive camera, like a Red camera or something that you see people use in the movies, more so than spending money on cameras. If I could go back to the early version of myself who was first getting frequented with videography, I would have told her to invest in a mic. People can forgive bad video quality, people can forgive shaky video quality, but people aren't so forgiving when the sound is awful. Now, I've been a little bit lazy today because this is a chatty, chilled video, so I've just used my fat cat, and it's not called a fat cat. But that's what I call it. People often refer to this as a dead cat. What I'm really talking about is a shotgun mic, guys. So my shotgun mic makes filming really easy. I just pop it on top of my DSLR, and when I'm doing voiceovers, I will usually just put my lens cap cover over my DSLR and just speak straight into my shotgun mic. And this is really easy. I love it for its ease of use. I have also invested in Rode mics, and I use this when I am doing interviews, and if I'm filming quite a bit away from the camera, if I really just want to put a little bit of extra effort in my videos, which I strongly encourage everyone else to do. But the problem with my Rode mics, and I'm just going to say this, is the fact that you have to charge them. And it's not only charge them, it's sometimes they just don't work. I remember doing this interview once with someone, and for some reason, the one mic just didn't work. I don't know what happened. It was so flaky. It might have just been a once-off thing, but since then I've become a little bit paranoid. I can always rely on my shotgun mic, but every time I have used my Rode mics for interviews and they have worked, it's been amazing quality audio. But there is a learning curve. If I look back at the first couple of videos where I used the Rode mic, the sound wasn't so fantastic because I had to learn how to use it in the edit. I use Premiere Pro as my editing software, and yeah, it took me a while to get comfortable with it. So it's a lot of admin to charge, but also it's quite a bit of admin in the editing software that you may use. But like I said, it is something that I have invested in and that I don't regret buying. And I'm glad that I purchased mics pretty early on in my videography career. Now, the next thing I've purchased, I'm not one about spending excessively on things, or if you know me, I'm quite a fan of decluttering and having a minimal amount of things on me. But the one thing that I have splurged out on a bit is memory cards. And I'm so glad I've done that, because there have often been times when I film something and I'm not quite ready to edit the footage, or I'm not quite ready to part with the footage while I'm in the edit. So it's nice to have multiple memory cards, because it just gives me the freedom to get as much content as I possibly can when I am filming, so that I have options when it comes to the edit. And sometimes it's nice to just have footage saved in case anything goes wrong. Now, I never used to be this pedantic, but when you're filming and somebody's paying you, you might save your footage to a hard drive, but it's also nice to just have the footage on a memory card until the project's over, so that if for some reason you drop your hard drive and the files are corrupted, you've still got the footage on a memory card. So I've got a couple of memory cards, and I know the saying is less is more, but when it comes to memory cards, more is more for me. Now, as much as I love a good memory card, I have a couple of hard drives. And if you're not quite sure on the difference between a hard drive and an SSD, I have made a video explaining that. Now, SSDs are just so expensive, and personally, I haven't spent that much money on a storage device yet, and I will in the future. I mean, it's premium. It's probably as best as it gets. But I'm glad that I've purchased hard drives, and I've got a couple of these. One of them is corrupted, which is just the worst, but I am still able to get footage from it. I'm just not able to save anything new onto it, and it keeps giving me this error that one day it's going to blow up. So even though I'm glad I've spent money on hard drives, it still doesn't always feel reliable. So like I said earlier, if you're working on a client project, I just like having my files stored in as many places as possible, and this allows me to sleep comfortably at night. Now, the next thing that I spent money on, I didn't quite go to the premium version, I spent quite a long time working with the version that I think is accessible to most people, and that would be a circle light. So I had a circle light for the longest time, and it really helps, especially if you're filming in a room like I'm filming today. There's so many things you just have to think about when it comes to lighting. But one of the main things is if you use overhead lights, you can often get raccoon eyes. And if there are windows behind you, you could be backlit, which could make you seem somewhat silhouetted. So it's nice to have a light. I've got one coming in this direction, and that's just somewhat of a softer light that helps me compete with the lighting in the background. So like I mentioned, I've worked my way up to my telephoto lights. It's quite a big investment, at least it was for me. Separating with cash is hard for everyone, but this was one of the big purchases I made apart from my camera. And I love them. I think they are quality. The only negative is it's really difficult to get the batteries in sometimes, and I've managed to snap one of my batteries, so I can only really use one of my lights. The other one just hangs out in the corner of my office, which is not ideal. I probably need to get another battery. Another negative is it's a mission to pack up. So I have often for interviews arrived with like, I'm just carrying so many things, and the setup takes long. So where possible, I try not to bring them. But if I have to bring them, I obviously will bring them. The quality just completely changes the look and the feel of the video. So I'm so glad that I was influenced to purchase these lights. But by no means do you have to start with telephoto lights. You can use a circle ring like I mentioned. All right, I just quickly scanned my list, and for some reason I forgot to talk about my gimbal. So like a tripod, the gimbal allows me to have my camera standing up straight as somewhat of a tripod, but it has also allowed me to capture silky smooth footage with my DSLR, because the stabilization in my DSLR isn't that great. I mean, these days with some mirrorless cameras, you are able to take silky smooth footage, but with mine, it's not the latest model by any means. So having a gimbal, especially when I'm doing property videography, it just takes the quality of my video to that absolute next level. So I have loved my gimbal. Like the lights, it takes a while to set up, and it can often make you a bit lazy because you might have just finished filming and you disassembled your gimbal, and then something happens and you could take the shot, but you decide not to because just setting up that bad boy takes so much time. So from a time perspective, you don't need it, but it definitely elevates the quality of your videos if you are shooting something that could benefit from a bit of a glide or a swivel or anything along those lines. Now, everything I've mentioned so far has been incredibly valuable, but I wouldn't be able to make my videos come to life if I hadn't invested in my MacBook Pro. Now, I had one, I think a 2016 or 2017 version before I purchased this one. I think this is the 2022 or the 2021. I'll just write it somewhere on the screen what version my MacBook is. But I was having so much problems with my older MacBook in terms of exporting footage and just not having my MacBook software respond to the software updates of my editing software. It became quite a headache, and my MacBook was just crashing the whole time. So, I made the big investment. Actually, forget everything that I said earlier. That was my biggest investment when it came to videography. But it has been quite a big game changer having somewhat of a newer MacBook. It's not the latest, but I'm able to store a lot more footage on my desktop, and it seems to sync files quite a bit quicker. I mean, exporting takes me a lot quicker. It's a dream to edit on. I kind of wish it allowed me to insert my hard drive directly. I do use an extension, and that comes with problems of its own. This is literally what I'm talking about. I just had my hard drive. As you can see, I don't know if you can see up here, but it's got the disk not ejected properly. The pop-ups come up twice. Once, I just put two extensions at the same time, and the other time I removed one while I was still using the other. So this is not ideal. So if you know of another alternative, let me know. So this is by no means the best. And I know there's always a debate between MacBooks and Windows and building your own computer. But for me personally, this has been a good investment, and it has made the whole process of editing, as well as storing, naming, filing footage a lot easier. Now, the next thing I was influenced to buy, and I'm sure everybody has been influenced to some degree, is a stock footage or stock music library. Now, I have Artlist, and I am an affiliate of Artlist, so you can check out the link in my description if you are looking for royalty-free music. But using royalty-free music has allowed me to just bring my own groove to the videos that I'm making. Now, please, by no means, if you're starting out, invest in royalty-free music. I didn't invest for the longest time. I used the YouTube Studio library, and that music was more than adequate. But if you are making videos for clients, if you are making videos across different social media platforms, I found Artlist easy to use. I found that there's a variety of soundtracks, and personally it's something that I love and I feel has elevated the quality of my videos. Now, when I first started out, I used iMovie to edit my videos, and this was a good time. I managed to figure out a whole bunch of tricks and hacks to get iMovie to perform to a level that I wanted my videos to be at. But you kind of get to a stage where iMovie isn't enough, and that's when I got involved with Premiere Pro. Adobe actually reached out to me a couple of years ago and taught me how to use Premiere Pro. So I guess I am very loyal to them because they've been such a part of my journey. But that's the editing software I've used, and that has been invaluable. I mean, I cannot believe the type of videos I can create. I cannot believe the type of short films I've been able to edit. I have loved using Premiere Pro. It's not perfect. It does sometimes crash, which is just the worst. But in terms of editing software, if you're trying to get serious, or if you're finding that your free editing software isn't allowing you to create what it is that you want to create, then I have loved using Premiere Pro. Okay, and finally, this might sound ridiculous, but I have got this one piece of hardware that has been so incredibly valuable to my videos, and it has allowed me to bring videos to life in somewhat of an old school manner, and that is my printer. Now, I don't use a teleprompter, and in this video, it's pretty chatty. I mean, all I've got are some notes over here that just lists what I've spent money on that was worth it. But I usually script out my videos, or if I am doing a shoot for a client, I typically list my shots. And I'm old school. I like ticking things off. I like writing things down. I like highlighting things. For certain videos, I outline what parts I will be talking to the camera, then I outline what parts are going to be voiceover. I give myself direction in terms of B-roll. I'm just very grateful that I get to print my own scripts for YouTube videos or for client work at home. In the past, I literally used to walk to a printing shop to print things, so having my own printer is a dream. But it's not perfect. It means sometimes paper gets stuck, or there are problems, or I might run out of ink when I didn't expect it, and I'm on quite a bit of a tight deadline. But like everything I've mentioned today, I mean, everything has its pros and its cons. So it's been ideal for what I've needed. It has been mostly reliable, and I'm glad I've got a printer. As I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to see things I have spent money on or that I was influenced to buy that I regret, I would love to make a second video. So let me know if you're keen to see that in the comments. But everything I have listed today is only going to help you if you know what it is that you want to film videos, or if you have figured out how to go about videography as a beginner. So if you're not quite sure on what it is that you should be looking at when it comes to videography, you might find this video of mine valuable. And if you're starting out on YouTube, you might find this video of mine valuable. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.